This is the first of 8 short video revision sessions for the theory paper, which will help with your mock on the afternoon of Friday the 2nd of February 2018 and your real exam on the morning of Monday the 18th of June 2018. This video is about business administration and it covers business objectives, stakeholders, measuring business success and market research. There'll be some parts where you can test your own knowledge by pausing the video and testing yourself. Business objectives. Business objective is a big idea about what a business wants to achieve. It's their long-term goal. It's not something that they want to achieve this time next week. It's much longer than that. So what objectives do you think businesses might have? Pause the video and try to name the 8 that we've covered in class. So the first one is, a business might want to just break even. That means if they've sold £1,000 worth of stock, but they've had to spend £1,000, at the end of it they've got 0. That's breaking even. They might just want to survive and be here this time next year, this time in 2 years' time. They might want to make a profit, so they'll be in the positive at the end of the year. They might want to create jobs. They might want to increase their market share. Growth is a big objective for many businesses. Some businesses these days want to act ethically, and some will look to be more environmentally friendly. So stakeholders are groups of people that have an interest in a business, and stakeholders can be internal, that means inside the business, or external, that means outside the business. Pause the video and see if you can think of the 7 that we've covered in class. So, the first one is the customers. They have an interest in the business. The suppliers, the government, the local community, any employees that the business has, the owners of the business, and the competitors of the business. Now it says not all stakeholders want the same things. Suppliers want a business to do well, but the business's competitors, they don't. Pause the video now and test yourself on what each stakeholder might want. So customers, they might want a business to have a good range of products and also to provide them at a good price. And the customers want a business to do well because that means that the prices might come down. Suppliers want a business to do well because if a business expands, then it might be that the suppliers have to provide the business with more goods, which means then the suppliers do well, as they're usually a business as well who are trying out to make some money out of this as well. The government, the better that a business does, the more tax is paid to the government through what they make, and therefore a government wants a business to do well too. The local community, well, if the local community sees that a business is doing well, that can raise morale in the local community. It can bring more people to the local community. It can also mean that maybe the local community gets more shops that they require. It might mean that more investment and more money comes into the local area. So the local community might want a business to do well as well. Employees, that's the people who work for the business. Well, if the business does well, it might be that these employees are paid more. It might also give them job security, which means that they will know that they have a good job for a long time. The owners obviously want the business to do well because then they make more money out of having this business. Competitors, on the other hand, they don't want the business to do well. For example, Asda's don't necessarily want Tesco's to do well, but they are interested in how well each other does and obviously the prices that they display. So competitors are interested, they are stakeholders in each other's businesses, but they don't necessarily want each other to do very well. So, measuring business success. Survival. Survival is the main short-term objective of any business. It says over 2/3 of new businesses close within 5 years of starting. So if you've managed to survive, then you're certainly on your way to having a successful business. Profitability. This is the main reward for the entrepreneur that starts the business. If you've put money into a business and you've taken that risk, then having a profitable business, a business that makes money, is the main reward. Growth. This is measured by the number of employees that you have, the number of products sold, and the income from those sales. Market share. So the bigger the market share that a business has, the greater its ability to control the market. All these different supermarkets that we have at the moment are trying to increase their market share so that they can control the prices of the products that they sell. Customer satisfaction. Happy customers means repeat customers, means more customers spending money in your stores and more profit. Ethical considerations. Does the business act in an ethical and a moral way? It's important to some customers these days, and it also shows that a business is successful. And finally, environmental sustainability, minimizing the business's impact on the environment. And finally, market research. So we've got two types of market research that you can do. The first is primary research. Primary research is conducted by the business. So examples include questionnaires, interviews, focus groups. This is where the business actually goes out and collects that information themselves. A little bit like you did in your controlled assessment when you produced questionnaires and you went and asked people what their opinions were. Secondary research is the second mode of research. It's looking at data that has been published by somebody else. For example, market research reports, government reports, newspapers and the internet. Somebody has already gone out and collected that information by asking people and then published it perhaps on the internet, and then other businesses can go along, search on the internet and use that research that somebody else has published on the internet. That means the business hasn't collected it themselves, they've gone and found it from what somebody else has already collected. So that's secondary research. Primary research, when you go out and find out those answers for yourself through questionnaires, interviews and focus groups. Secondary research, where you look at some information that's already been collected by somebody else and maybe put on the internet or maybe put into newspapers or books or government reports and those types of things, and you use it for your own market research.